Let's have a look at the next set. The next set I thought was slightly difficult in terms of the amount of data, and there was some confusion about whether you should make a Venn diagram or not, or should you make a table, and hence it was a slight confusion. There were a couple of questions which were straightforward. Maybe the first two questions could have been done very easily. First 2 or 3 questions could have been done very easily. So they're talking about a specialty supermarket sells 320 products. Each of these products was either a cosmetic or a nutrition product. So there is either cosmetic or nutrition. Then each of these products was either a foreign product or a domestic product. Till here, everything was okay. Each of these products had at least one of the two approvals, FDA or EU. Now, students, a lot of would have missed out that they could have had both also. Obviously, once they read the statements, they realized that both also was possible. So, for FDA, EU, we had to think like a Venn diagram, but for the others, it was not like a Venn diagram. For the others, it was either domestic or whatever, there was only two data, domestic or foreign, and nutrition or cosmetic. So let's read the other points which have been given. The equal number of domestic and foreign products. That's pretty straightforward, 160, 160. Half of the domestic were FDA approved cosmetic products. So they were FDA approved. Now when they say they are FDA approved, they could be FDA approved or both also. Hence this points became very important. None of the foreign products had both the approvals. So at least in foreign products, both does not exist only. But in domestic, 60 domestic products had both the approvals, and you will realize most of the questions were around this part. There were 140 nutrition products, half of them were foreign products. That was also okay. There were 200 FDA products totally, 70 of them. When I say again 200 FDA, there could be FDA or both. 70 of them were foreign products and 120 of them were cosmetic. Let's take all this data and try and answer the questions. Questions, once again, you got the data around. I thought question 1 and 2 were very straightforward, could have been easily got. The remaining was slightly difficult. Okay, in fact, maybe even the third was straightforward. Not so much, but 1 and 2 definitely were very easy. Let's have a look at it. Now, this is the table which I have created, not a table like a box I have created, where there is cosmetic, nutrition, foreign, domestic on the 4 points, and 320 was the total. So that's I've just put that down. Now, let's read each point very carefully. Equal number of domestic and foreign products. So, foreign is 160, domestic is also 160, our total out of 320. Half the domestic were FDA approved. Now, if you notice all the points when you read it, they spoke about FDA, they didn't speak about EU at all. So, what I'm going to do is when I write FDA, I mean FDA and both. So, the balance automatically becomes only EU. So, if you're thinking like a Venn diagram, it is FDA. So, if I draw a Venn diagram, this is FDA. This is EU. So this whole thing is FDA. This is both, and this is only EU, obviously. So think that way. Be careful and think that way. We'll just clear that out. Now, half of the domestic products were FDA approved cosmetic products. So where is FDA approved cosmetic products, domestic and cosmetic? That means we're talking about this box, right? Half of them, half of the domestic products out of the 160, 180 were domestic approved cosmetic. That doesn't mean that in this box I cannot have more things. I can have cosmetic which are not FDA approved and so on. But this is FDA, so they mean FDA or both. This is not only FDA, right? None of the foreign products had both the approvals, while 60 domestic products had both the approvals. So over here, both is 0, which made my life really easy for this part at least. Both is 0. But over here, both is 60. Here this is again for cosmetic and nutrition. That is why I just put it down over here. So you can't say out of these 80, this is 60. No, that is incorrect. There are 140 nutrition products. Half of them are foreign products. So nutrition, there is 140. So automatically cosmetic becomes 180. Half of them are foreign. So out of this 140, 70 are foreign. So automatically 70 become domestic. If these 70 are foreign, then over here, this becomes 90 because the total is 160. So this will become 90 and this will also become 90, right? So we got these 4 values also of each box. So we've got each box got 4 values. Now next part, there are 200 FDA products that I'm not using right now. 70 of them were foreign. Now 70 FDA products are foreign. So now when I say FDA 70, anyway both is 0. So automatically everything else becomes EU. So EU becomes 110 over here. Pay attention very carefully. They're saying there are 200 FDA products that I'm not using right now. 70 of them are foreign products. So 70 FDA products are foreign. EU becomes 110. And 120 of them are cosmetic products. So over here, FDA becomes 130 because this is 70. So this will become 130 because total FDA was 200. And now let's read this part. 120 of them were cosmetic products. What do you mean by that? So only FDA becomes, I have not even used this 120, just hold on to that. Only FDA over here becomes 70 because 60 is both. FDA is 130, 60 is both. So only FDA becomes 70 and only EU will become 30, right? So I have not used this 120 at all. I maybe don't even need that. Let's see, because I think we more or less figured that 120 of them were cosmetic. So total of cosmetic was 120. Yeah. So we can get this. Yeah. We'll get FDA over here as 40. We have used that now. So 120 of them are cosmetic. So FDA over here will become 40 because FDA over here is 80. Now remember, when I say FDA over here is 40, they are only FDA only because there is both is anyway 0. So FDA over here will become 30. We still don't have the split up of EU for both these boxes. So basically in these 4 boxes, I needed to figure out only FDA if possible. So this anyway is only FDA. But this FDA is not only FDA, it is FDA plus both. So let's go ahead now. Now let's try and answer the questions on this. How many foreign products were FDA approved cosmetic? So we are talking about this box, FDA approved cosmetics. 40. Straightforward question. We had easily got this data. Once you'd understood what it is, we've not really done too much on this. We got this number pretty easily. Next one. How many cosmetics products did not have FDA approval? So cosmetic not having FDA approval. So if 40 have FDA approval, how many don't have? So if you notice over here, 50 will not have FDA approval over here because there were totally 90 products over here. So 50 don't have. Over here, 80 have out of the total of 90. So 10 don't have FDA approval. Now when I say don't have, they automatically mean only EU, but does not matter. So this is 50 do not have FDA approval. Over here 10 do not have FDA approval. Answer becomes the 4th option, which is 60. Again, pretty straightforward. Third question onwards, they were slightly difficult because you have to start thinking a little bit more. It was not straight from the data. Which among the following best represents the number of domestic cosmetic products that have both the approvals? Now this is anyway 80. Now this both is 60. Now this question, if somebody was smart and wanted to take a little bit chance, could have taken a little bit chance. Both ka total for cosmetic and nutrition is 60. Which means if you think logically, this is out, this is out. At most 80, at most 70 is out because both anyway over here is 60. So 70 and 80 are out. It could be at most 50 or at most 60. Because 60 is possible and I'm just thinking, can this number be 60? So from here, FDA 80, can both be 60? Yes. Doesn't look like, kind of that nothing, anything else will be spoiled because of that. Any values will go wrong. So I thought 60 was possible and hence took a chance and marked that 60 and turned out to be correct. And now after that later I thought, why at least 10? So then you realize why at least 10, because over here FDA 50, right? The total only FDA is 70. Right, total only FDA is 70. If you try and draw the Venn diagram, you will realize that at least 10, you cannot have less than 10 over here. In this value, you cannot have less than 10 because if you try making it 0, you can't put all 60 over here, no, because this is only 50. So maximum both which can go over here is 50. So 10 that is over here, maximum can be 50. So 10 will have to go minimum over here. So minimum 10, maximum 60. So your minimum can be 0, maximum can be 60. So answer is 10, 60, which is the first option. But if you're slightly smart, you could have taken a chance and marked the first option. From 4th question, I thought they were slightly difficult. 4th and 5th question was slightly more difficult. If 70 cosmetic products did not have EU approval. Now, when they say did not have EU approval, which means FDA was only FDA is 70. Now, understand when I say do not have EU, that means this part is 70, only FDA is 70. Now, this is only FDA, we know only 40 anyways, because here that is both is 0. So, only FDA is 40 over here. So, the only FDA over here will become 30. Now, only FDA over here was 70 for both of them together, which means only FDA over here now becomes what? 10. Sorry, both becomes 10 because only will become, both over here will become 50. So, the both over here become 10. Because that's what they are. How many nutrition products had both the approvals? So pay attention very carefully. Obviously, both, how many nutrition have both over here is 0 and here is 10. I'll go through this again if you want. Only FDA over here turns out to be 30 because 70 minus 40 is 30. Therefore, both over here became 50 because 80 was FDA total, so both became 50. Both of 60 was therefore totally for both of them, for that is including for cosmetic and nutrition. Therefore, both for nutrition became only 10, and that is your answer, which is the first option. Let's go to the last question. If 50 nutrition products did not have EU approval, now, which means again over here only FDA is 50. Now, only FDA over here is 30 because anyway here there is no combination, only FDA is 30. So, only FDA becomes 20. What is the question then? How many domestic products did not have EU approval? That means only FDA over here. We want to find only FDA over here. Now, if this only FDA is 20 and only FDA total is 70, so therefore only FDA over here will be 50, and that is my answer for this question. As I had said, the last two questions were slightly difficult. First three questions or the first two questions were definitely doable, yes, but for that you had to already create the chart or the table. So somebody could have done this type of table, somebody could have done maybe a table with a 3x3 table, that condition table, but this is also a pretty comfortable table to solve with.